Hello again, YouTube. My name is Bree, and in today's video, I am starting a new series. So if you saw my last video, you know Inktober was not working out for me, and after that disaster, I really lost my motivation. I didn't really plan to do 31 days of Inktober, but at that point, I didn't even want to make something else out of ink right away. So I had a friend on a different Discord, as though we're on a Discord right now, on one of the Discord communities I'm a part of, who was doing Birdtober, and she's drawing birds every day in ink, and it helped me remember this project I had that I never started. So back when I went to Scotland a couple years ago, I found these Hahnemühle 2x2-inch accordion sketchbooks, these ZigZag books, and I bought one of them and used it to paint 18 different birds from Scotland that I saw on my travels. And after I got back and finished that up, I picked up another book because I wanted to do one for the local birds I see here every day in my home in Central Florida. So, of course, I never started that project, and I thought this was a great opportunity to do that because I have 18 pages. It won't be for full 31 days, but it's something I could do in a short amount of time every day and kind of participate in Inktober, kind of, sort of. It's a daily painting challenge still. Before I go on, I do want to make note that if you see spots on my hands and under my fingernails, that's just fountain pen ink. I made a mess. I couldn't wash it all off. And being that this is a daily challenge, it's not like, well, guess we'll just wait a couple days. Got to keep up with it. So in addition to the Hahnemühle sketchbook that I already mentioned, the paint palette I'm using is the Etchr miniature palette, and it's mostly filled with Daniel Smith watercolors. And as you can see in the little swatches there, a lot of these are granulating paints. And when I'm working small like this and I'm not spending a lot of time on these, I'm giving myself between 45 minutes and an hour. At the current point in time, I'm hoping to speed up just a little bit going forward. The granulation really helps to add texture without spending as much time building it, so it's just a little cheat that I wanted to take advantage of. And I think that's really all I have to say about the paints for now. The actual brushes, I am using a really small one to try to get some details, but I don't want to try to spend too much time on every little detail of a bird, or I'll never finish this little challenge I'm setting for myself. So yeah, I guess that's all I have to say there, but let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, I guess I'll probably be doing more of these videos for more birds going forward. So I figured I would talk a little bit about the birds I'm painting. The first one is a common grackle, and as its name implies, it is an exceptionally common bird, especially here in Florida. I think throughout the state, not just in my area. I'm pretty much guaranteed to see one of these anytime I go outside, unless it's like the middle of the night. And while they are black and iridescent, they are not related to the crows, they're not related to crows, but they are a black bird. They do have really pretty iridescent sheen in direct sunlight. And for the common grackle, both the male and female both have that same coloration. However, the females are just duller. So they still have the iridescent sheen, but it's not quite as vibrant as the male. The common grackles are about, I think, between 11 and 17 inches. So they are medium-sized birds, I guess. I don't really, maybe small depending on your bird scale. And they're known for their really, really loud squawks. They kind of scream. They make a lot of noise. I once made the mistake of setting out a bird feeder trying to lure in cute little birds, and instead lured in a ton of grackles, and to the point where I think I had 40 something of them in my yard, chased them off and put the bird feeder away because the noise was so much. I thought the neighbors were going to start screaming at me. But even without the feeder, they're very, very prevalent here. The common grackles have a yellow eye, which helps to differentiate them from the Bowtail Grackles, which have a brown or black, well, they have two eyes. I don't know why I said A. They have brown or black eyes. I'm not really sure, but that's the one I'll draw on the next page. And yeah, they're also a little smaller than the Bowtail Grackle, but I'll get to those in just a moment. I totally lost my train of thought. Oh, these are also the birds that if you saw my sketchbook tour of the Etchr A6, These are the ones that nested in my palm tree. The nest fell out. We were able to save 2 of the baby birds and put them up in an Easter basket, and the parents were definitely willing to take care of them after that. Though while they respected us and understood what we were trying to do and were nice to us that first day, a few days later they would go after us anytime we walked out our front door, not even near the nest. They lost their trust in us very quickly. But one thing I did find interesting about these grackles is that both the male and female bird take care of the young. They forage, they bring back food, they feed them. They're both there for the experience of raising them and getting them flying, which I thought was pretty cool. I know not all birds do that, but I don't know how common it actually is. Otherwise, I guess I don't have too much more to say about them. So, yeah. But yeah, I think they're amusing birds. They're really silly, they're loud, they're kind of goofy. They're not particularly, I guess they can be kind of aggressive, but they get along pretty well with the mourning doves, which are also pretty common. So they'll tend to stay up high. Well, I mean, they're on the ground a lot too, but if they're mourning doves about and they're both feeding, like they would pick out seeds from the bird feeder, and then whatever they drop, they let the mourning doves have. So they kind of built a little relationship that way because the mourning doves couldn't use the feeder at all. Otherwise, they amuse me, but they can be extremely obnoxious, so I know a lot of people can't stand them. And I guess that's really all I have to say about the common grackle. I don't know. So the next bird I'll be painting is the Bowtail Grackle, and I'll switch over to that shortly, but I'm going to go ahead and speak about them a little bit early just because I do want to talk about the third bird, even though I forgot to hit record. I went through all the effort of setting up my camera, getting it focused and zoomed in on the smaller sketchbook, and apparently missed the record button, hit something else instead, and missed the entire drawing and painting experience. So, little sad about that. But in any case, looks like we're moving on to the second one. So for the Bowtail Grackle, there's actually more of a difference between the males and the females. So while the males still have that black feather with the really bright blue and purple iridescence, the females are actually brown. In some lighting, they'll still look black, but in bright lighting, you get this. They have a darker brown head and a lighter brown body. So they're a little leaner than the common grackles, at least in my experience. Maybe that's not always true, and the common grackles just feed a lot better here. I don't know. But they're also a bit larger. They start at about, I think, 14 inches, but the males can get up to 23 inches, and they have the longer tails, the boat tails, that give them their name. Otherwise, yeah, they are also extremely common here, and I just wanted to get started with both of the grackles and move on from there. I don't think we have the greater grackles or any other form of them in Florida, at least not in my area, so these are the only two I'll be painting during this. I have a lot of birds that I see every day, and I'm going to try to get through the really common ones first. I didn't really list them out yet, but I might start a volume 2 of this at some point that deals with, I think I already said this, some of the more interesting or rarer birds in the area that I really do like as well. So, not much to say here. I haven't had any first-hand stories with these particular birds, like the baby bird story or the feeder story. So they're just around doing their thing, and once again, I kind of like them, but they can be very annoying too. The Bowtail Grackle does have a different chirp, scream, yell, noise than the common grackle, but it's still, they're very loud, these birds. So the third bird I painted, which, like I said, I don't have in this video, unfortunately, is the mourning dove. Mourning doves are another one I'm guaranteed to see every day. They spend a lot of time hanging out on my roof, and while flipping through my bird book, I noticed that they look very lean in these photos. They are quite chubby here, and I don't know if it's just something about our local birds that eat very well, or if the illustrations were being flattering, because they have small heads and very round bodies. And while they can fly just fine, their takeoffs are a little slow and they can't really navigate with finesse, to use like a bird feeder, for example. Mourning doves are named for their kind of, they have a melancholy coo. Kind of sounds a little sad, and it's multiple notes that they repeat over and over again. To me, it sounds like a coo. I'm sure if I check the bird book, there's a much better descriptor of the noise they make. And then sometimes they also kind of have a owl-like hoot, which I thought it was a completely different bird making that noise for a while until I saw them making it. So they have a couple different noises. They also pretty much scavenge and eat anything. I honestly thought they were pigeons for a little while because I thought doves were supposed to be these elegant, graceful white birds that were released at weddings and movies, and not these gray and brown and silly looking birds that walk around the streets, but lesson learned. And wow, I'm already running out of things to say. I did have one kind of sad story. So we have a little tiny ledge. It must only be 3 inches, maybe 4, above our door. And a mourning dove, I noticed this mourning dove was sitting at the gutter by our front door, just staring at our door. And after it was there for quite some time, I checked, and it had built a nest on that little tiny ledge above the door. And we have very windy weather, and it blew down, and its egg broke. So it had 1 egg that didn't make it. But once I cleaned up, it left, moved on. So hopefully it found a new companion and nested again. They're quite common, but apparently they only lay 1 to 2 eggs each time they nest. So they don't breed very quickly, all things considered. So a little note on the background. I did want to do backgrounds for these, just very simple backgrounds to give it a little extra appeal. Since the grackles are often found on the ground scavenging, I did want to paint one in the grass and one in like on the concrete. They're surprisingly common hanging around parking lots. So if I go to the grocery store, they'll just be hanging out looking for stuff people dropped. They're not really too afraid of people. They just want what you have to drop and feed them. They're a little greedy. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I have to say about these birds. Couple little bird facts. I will prepare more next time. I actually plan to make a list of some bird facts and then instead watch 3 episodes of last season's Great British Bake Off because I'm tired. I had a long weekend, so I needed some downtime to recover. It's all good. But yeah, so moving forward, I think I'm trying to decide because there are some more birds that are very common in this area that I guess fit the same general build and class of these birds. They're different, but like we have a lot of mockingbirds, we have loggerhead shrikes, and some smaller birds too, warblers. So I don't know if I want to jump into them or if I want to focus on pond birds next because we have a ton of pond birds in this area between herons and ibises and ducks. So I don't know. They'll all be in here eventually, I guarantee it. But in the meantime, I hope you did enjoy this little video of me painting a couple birds and talking about some stories I had involving these birds. I don't know. I really didn't go into this with much of a plan. So if you have any birds in your area that you're really fond of, let me know because I just like looking up birds and getting distracted. It's all good. Otherwise, I will try to do another video for the next 3 birds, and if I have 3, I will speed it up more so these videos aren't horribly long, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully I'll get this finished this month. It should be pretty easy since I have 18 quote-unquote pages, and it's a 31-day month, so it should be fairly doable. But otherwise, I hope you're all doing well, taking care of yourselves, and I hope to see you for a future video. Bye.